Welcome to the History in Focus channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this one. Mirandajo, the invulnerable man. Mirandajo, born in the Netherlands in 1912, became famous for astonishing the medical community by piercing his body with all kinds of objects, seemingly without injury. Dajo achieved international fame in the 1940s for his seemingly supernatural ability to pierce his body with various objects, including swords and large needles, without suffering wounds, bleeding, or pain. The medical community, initially skeptical, was baffled by Dajo's abilities. He was subjected to a series of X-rays and other examinations while objects passed through his body, confirming that there was no trick or illusion in his performances. Mirandajo is remembered as a mysterious and enigmatic figure, a man who defied the boundaries of the possible and left a lasting legacy of curiosity and admiration. Circus artist Pablo Noel performing a dangerous acrobatic act in Hamburg, Germany in 1962. He has his head inside a lion's mouth in an act of extreme domination and trust, typical of training numbers with large felines. Performances like this were common in circuses of the time, attracting crowds who came to see the risky interaction between humans and wild animals. Edward Morre, born into a wealthy and noble English family in the 19th century, was cursed with a second face on the back of his head. Yes, you heard that right, a face that supposedly whispered to him at night, uttering repugnant and disturbing thoughts. Desperate to rid himself of this curse, Edward sought help from numerous doctors and spiritualists, but no one could provide a solution. He eventually sank into a deep state of despair and madness, losing his life at a young age. The legend of Edward Morre lives on today as a haunting story that defies medical understanding and popular imagination. Martin Lorello, known as the Owl Man, possessed an extraordinary and unique ability. He could turn his head 180 degrees. This rare and surprising talent allowed him to look directly behind him without moving the rest of his body. His skill was not a simple trick, but the result of years of training and a unique physical condition that allowed him to dislocate vertebrae without causing harm. He performed in variety shows and circuses, where he was often the center of attention. General Tom Thumb, whose real name was Charles Stratton, was born in 1838 and was only 63 centimeters tall. He was discovered by P.T. Barnum when he was just 4 years old. Before they knew it, he became the main attraction at Barnum's American Museum in New York City. But Tom Thumb was not just a cute little mascot. He could sing, dance, act, and even imitate historical figures, being a true one-person show. Tom Thumb took his show to Europe, where he mingled with royalty, including Queen Victoria. He became a household name, with his face emblazoned on everything from trading cards to teacups. He proved that size doesn't matter when it comes to talent and charisma. General Tom Thumb is remembered as one of the most iconic figures of 19th century entertainment, a true pioneer who paved the way for future generations of performers. Alice Elizabeth Doherty, known as the Werewolf Girl. Her story is as unique as it is rare, as Alice became known for an extremely uncommon genetic condition called hypertrichosis lanuginosa, which caused her to be born with a thick layer of soft hair known as lanugo, covering her entire body. From a young age, Alice caught the attention of everyone around her, and her parents decided to exhibit her condition in curiosity shows. Her unique appearance made her a popular attraction in circuses of the time. Get ready to have your mind blown with the incredible story of Prince Randian, also known as the human serpent. Born in 1871 in British Guiana, he faced a great obstacle from the start. He was born without arms and legs. But did that stop him? Not at all. Prince Randian had some impressive skills. Despite his physical limitations, he was as agile as a cat and as strong as a bull. Using only his torso and head, he could move like no one else. He could roll cigarettes, light them, and even shave using only his mouth. Randian became a superstar in freak shows in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. He joined Barnum's Circus, where, sliding like a serpent, he charmed and amazed crowds. Prince Randian was not just a performer, he was a symbol of courage and resilience, showing the world that physical limitations cannot stop someone from achieving great feats. Johnny Eck, born in 1911 in Baltimore, Maryland, was an actor and circus performer who was born without the lower half of his torso. He became a renowned performer, known for his impressive acrobatics and charismatic presence. Johnny was also a talented painter, musician, and filmmaker. His fame grew when he starred in the film Freaks in 1932, showcasing his skills and proving that he was more than just a unique physical appearance. Born in 1868, Myrtle Corbin entered the horror show circuit at age 13 and was considered the four-legged girl from Texas. From a very young age, Myrtle captured the public's attention for an extraordinarily unique characteristic. She was born with dipegus, a rare condition that gave her an additional set of smaller legs belonging to a parasitic twin that did not fully develop. This earned her the nickname Four-Legged Girl from Texas, although she was born in Tennessee. Most of her life and career were spent in Texas, where she performed in circuses and curiosity shows. Myrtle lived a relatively long life for her time, living to the age of 59. Felix, born in Wisconsin, USA in 1858, discovered early on that he possessed impressive abilities. Imagine being able to stretch your skin like sticky chewing gum. That was exactly what Felix could do. But it gets even stranger. Felix could bend his limbs completely backward without breaking a sweat. It's like having a superpower that defies the laws of human anatomy. He took his show on the road, dazzling audiences in museums and impressing crowds in circus performances, like the famous Ringling Brothers Circus. Specialists speculated that Felix might have had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a condition characterized by weak connective tissue, resulting in skin that stretches like elastic and extremely loose joints. Felix is remembered as a fascinating figure in curiosity shows, a man who turned his condition into a means of entertaining and demonstrating to the public the extraordinary capabilities of the human body. Schlitzy, born in 1901, was a sideshow performer known for his condition of microcephaly, which gave him a small head and lifelong intellectual challenges. Schlitzy was a natural performer and found his calling in the world of sideshows. With his contagious laughter and playful personality, he became an instant hit, whether singing, dancing, or telling jokes. Schlitzy really took off when he appeared in the film Freaks in 1932, playing himself. The world's smallest woman was born in the Netherlands in 1876. Throughout her short life, which extended until 1895, she reached a maximum height of only 58 centimeters, a fact that catapulted her to worldwide fame. Her extraordinarily small stature made her a celebrity in the circles of curiosity shows of the time, allowing her to travel the world and perform before fascinated audiences. Pauline became a beloved figure to many, not only for her height, but also for her charm and vibrant personality. She performed in variety shows where she captivated audiences with her presence and performances. Pauline Musters is remembered as one of the most iconic figures of curiosity shows, a woman who turned her small stature into a great career. Unfortunately, she died of pneumonia and meningitis in 1895 at just 19 years old. Annie Jones, born in 1865 in Virginia, United States, began showing signs of hypertrichosis, a condition characterized by excessive hair growth, at a very young age. Her beard began to grow when she was just 5 years old. Annie was discovered by P.T. Barnum, one of the most famous entertainment promoters of the time, who included her in his famous curiosity show, Barnum's American Museum, in New York. Annie quickly became one of the most popular attractions, becoming known as the Bearded Woman. Grady Styles, better known as Lobster Boy, was born in 1937 with a rare condition called ectrodactyly, which gave him lobster claw-like hands and feet. Grady began performing at a young age, following in the footsteps of his father, who also had ectrodactyly. He became a popular figure in circuses, using his claw-like hands to perform tricks and manipulate objects in unique ways. Despite his fame and success as a performer, Grady Styles' personal life was marked by tragedy and controversy. He was known for his abusive and violent behavior, especially when drunk. In 1978, Grady was convicted of murder after shooting and killing his daughter's fiancé on the eve of their wedding. Due to his physical condition, he received a light sentence and was placed on probation. In 1992, Grady Styles was murdered by a hitman hired by his wife, Maria Teresa, and his son in retaliation for the years of abuse they had suffered. Grady Styles' story is one of the darkest and most complex in the world of sideshows, showing a tragic side of life behind the curtains. Francesco Frank Lentini, born in 1889 in Syracuse, Sicily, was an artist born with a third leg protruding from the right side of his body due to a congenital defect. Lentini did not let this unique characteristic hold him back. Instead, he turned it into an opportunity to educate and entertain others. At the age of 8, his family moved to Connecticut, United States, where Lentini quickly became a headliner at the circus and various carnival shows. He often joked that compared to others, he needed to eat 15% more to feed the extra leg. During performances, he demonstrated extraordinary abilities, such as jumping rope and kicking soccer balls with his third leg. Daisy and Violet Hilton were conjoined twin sisters born on February 5, 1908, in Brighton, England. They were joined at the hip and buttocks, sharing a common circulatory system but having separate organs. Their lives were marked by both their talent as performers and the personal and legal challenges they faced. From an early age, the sisters were exploited by their adoptive mother, Mary Hilton, who displayed them in circuses and fairs. After Mary's death, they were controlled by her daughter Edith and Edith's husband, who continued to use them for financial gain. The sisters were trained in various performing arts, including singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments, becoming talented and popular on vaudeville stages. In 1931, Daisy and Violet sued their adoptive guardians for abuse and exploitation, finally gaining their freedom. From that point on, they began to control their own careers and finances. They appeared in several films, including Freaks and Chained for Life, and continued to perform in vaudeville shows and carnivals. Jack Earl, born in 1906, was 6 feet tall before he turned 10 years old. He was almost 7 feet 7 inches at age 13. His actual height is unknown, but estimates range from 7 feet 7 inches to 8 feet 6 inches. He was so tall because he suffered from a disorder known as acromegalic gigantism. While his height could be helpful in some situations, it could also be detrimental in others. Earl was a Hollywood actor who appeared in films like Hansel and Gretel and Jack and the Beanstalk before suffering serious injuries in a fall from scaffolding and retiring from the industry. The Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey Circus soon learned of his accident and offered him a 1-year contract with the circus. Earl had previously stated that he would never participate in a freak show, but he needed a job, so he reluctantly agreed to sign the contract. The Human Skeleton was a famous circus performer born in 1841 in East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. He began to lose weight drastically at the age of 12 due to an unknown condition that left him extremely thin. Despite his normal diet, he couldn't gain weight, resulting in a skeletal appearance that became his trademark. Isaac began his entertainment career in 1865 when he joined P.T. Barnum's circus. He quickly became one of the most popular attractions due to his unique appearance. During his performances, Sprague showcased his thin body, often wearing clothes that highlighted his skeletal figure. He also shared his personal story with the audience, explaining how his condition affected his daily life. In addition to working with Barnum, Isaac Sprague performed in several other circuses and sideshows throughout his career. His medical condition remained a mystery, but some theories suggest he may have suffered from an extreme form of muscular atrophy or a metabolic disorder. Fanny Mills, born in Ohio in the 1850s, suffered from a condition known as Milroy's disease. This condition caused her feet to reach extraordinary dimensions, up to an impressive 20 inches in length and 8 inches in width. She was often advertised as the big-footed woman, and her condition attracted much curiosity and fascination. Fanny turned her unique condition into a career in curiosity shows, where she performed in circuses and dime museums. The demand for her performances skyrocketed, allowing her to earn significant amounts of money from her shows, enabling her to support herself and her family. Born on May 11, 1811, in Samut Songkhram, Thailand, then known as Siam, they were joined at the sternum with their livers fused. The twins moved to the United States in 1829 and gained fame performing in circuses and fairs. In their performances, they conducted a variety of acts intended to showcase their unique condition and impress the audience. They frequently displayed to the public how they were physically joined at the sternum, which in itself was a significant attraction. To demonstrate their ability to live a relatively normal life, they performed everyday tasks together, such as walking, running, and completing simple chores, showing how they managed to coordinate their movements despite being joined. Chang and Eng were never separated throughout their lives, but this did not prevent them from finding love, getting married, and even starting their own families. They set a world record for the most children born to conjoined twins, with a total of 21 children between them. Chang and Eng became household names and amassed a fortune while traveling across the United States. Lionel, born in 1890 in Poland, became known as the lion-faced man due to his condition of hypertrichosis, which gave him a lion's mane all over his face and body. At just 4 years old, he was sold to a German circus owner who saw potential in his unique appearance. Lionel became one of the most popular attractions in curiosity shows. During his performances, he often told his life story, explaining how his condition led him to enter the world of sideshow entertainment. Lionel was a headliner for many renowned circuses, including the Barnum and Bailey Circus. Pascal Pinon, better known as the Two-Headed Mexican, was a Mexican railroad worker who caught the attention of a curiosity show promoter due to a large cyst or tumor on top of his head. To increase the visual appeal and curiosity of the audience, a facial prosthesis was crafted to resemble a second face, complete with makeup to highlight facial features like eyes, nose, and mouth. He traveled throughout North America, where his exhibitions drew large crowds. Lavery Valley, better known by her stage name Charmian, was a famous trapeze artist and vaudeville performer in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Born in 1875, Charmian was known for her daring and innovative performances and her impressive physical strength. One of her most famous acts involved her stripping while performing acrobatics on the trapeze, which caused quite a sensation at the time. Charmian performed in various renowned theaters and circuses and became an iconic figure in the entertainment world. Additionally, she was revolutionary for several reasons. Firstly, she challenged the gender norms of the time, which viewed displays of physical strength as a male domain. By showcasing her strength and acrobatic skills, Charmian became an inspiration to many women, showing that they too could be strong and brave. Charmian is remembered as a pioneer in the circus world, a woman who broke barriers. This is Grace McDaniels, known as the Mule-Faced Woman. Born in 1888, she had Sturge-Weber syndrome, which caused a striking facial malformation. In the 1930s, Grace joined Harry Lewiston's circus, where her unique appearance made her a popular attraction, providing support for herself and her son Elmer. James Morris, known as the Elastic Man, competed with Felix for the title of being the most elastic human alive. Morris possessed contortion abilities that left audiences in awe. He could bend his limbs in ways that defied comprehension, making it seem as though there were no bones in his body. Morris also traveled with the Ringling Brothers Circus, where his performances attracted large crowds. Like Felix, specialists believe that Morris might have had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a condition that allows for unusual elasticity in the skin and joints. Oddity Fat and Skinny Man, known as the Circus Boxers, were an iconic duo in early 20th century curiosity shows and circuses. They stood out for the contrast in their physical appearances. One was extraordinarily obese and the other incredibly skinny. The performances of Oddity Fat and Skinny Man revolved around theatrical enactments, often centered on humorous boxing matches. Frances O'Connor, who was born without arms, learned to eat, drink, write, and sew exclusively with her feet, all on her own. She joined the Ringling Brothers at the age of 15 while living in Sheridan with her mother as her manager. O'Connor's act mainly consisted of her performing activities that the audience considered routine, such as drinking wine or beer, eating a steak, or writing a letter. If you were lucky, you could see her holding and aiming a gun with her feet while pulling the trigger with her toes. Facial contortionist Alfred Hyland displays his unique talent during an exhibition in Glasgow. Hyland was famous for his unusual ability to distort and manipulate his face in impressive ways. Julia Pastrana, born in 1834 in Mexico, is one of the most fascinating and tragic figures of freak shows. Known as the Baboon Woman, she suffered from terminal hypertrichosis, which covered her body with a dense layer of hair. Even after her death, her body was exploited for decades, turned into an object of profit and curiosity. Cuckoo, the bird girl. Born in 1880 in Georgia, she had a condition called Virchow-Seckel syndrome, also known as bird-headed dwarfism. The syndrome gave Cuckoo her unique features: a small head, a beak-like nose, and a receding jaw. During performances, Minnie often wore a bird-like costume, including feathers and a feathered tiara, which reinforced her nickname, the Bird Girl. Her performances included eccentric dances and movements that mimicked those of a bird, and she often swayed and moved her arms as if they were wings. John Jennings, known as the modern Samson. Born in 1890, Jennings was famous for his extraordinary physical strength, which earned him a nickname inspired by the biblical character known for his superhuman strength. He became a popular attraction in circuses and fairs, where his displays of power impressed audiences and established him as one of the strongest men of his time. In his performances, Jennings bent steel bars with his hands, lifted enormous weights over his head, and pulled heavy vehicles with chains attached to his body. Born black and albino in Virginia in the late 19th century, brothers George and Willie Muse were kidnapped from their community in 1899. The brothers were taken from their mother, Harriet Muse, and eventually hired, under circumstances that would now be considered coercion and exploitation, by a sideshow due to their unique appearance caused by albinism. They were promoted as Echo and Eco, the Martian ambassadors, among other exotic and invented titles that distanced them from their true identities and heritage. Despite the hardships and exploitation of having to work for many years in circuses, George and Willie became popular figures in curiosity shows. They were eventually rescued by their mother, which led to a legal battle for their freedom. Today, it is entirely normal to find people with their entire body, or a large part of it, tattooed. However, in the past, the reality was quite different. We lived in a time when social norms were extremely rigid, especially for women. Showing one's legs was considered indecent, and the idea of a woman displaying her body covered in tattoos was unimaginable to many. It was in this different time that the tattooed woman became an iconic figure in freak and curiosity shows of the era. Photo of 3 acrobats who decided to perform an impressive and risky balance act on the Empire State Building in New York City in 1934. Despite being impressive and also an act of great courage, we can see how at that time it was common for these artists not to care about their own safety when performing their acts. A circus artist performing a balance number on stacked chairs atop a building. Sitting on the last chair, he maintains his balance in a dangerous and precarious position, demonstrating extreme body control and concentration. These types of acts, performed in high and exposed locations, were a way to attract the audience's attention. Circus artist swallowing a snake. This was another of the highly risky and fascinating performances. The snake swallower was one of the most impressive numbers for the audience, who watched with a mixture of fascination, agony, and fear. Photo of Sonora Webster Carver mid-jump with her horse Lightning during a horse diving performance. She became famous for her diving performances, where she and her horse jumped from great heights into a tank of water. Sonora continued to perform these acts even after losing her sight in an accident during one of the jumps, which made her a legend for her courage and determination. A member of Sir Robert Fawcett's family circus prepares a boxing kangaroo for the show. The kangaroo, a curious and popular attraction, was trained to fight theatrically with the artists, simulating a boxing match. Sir Robert Fawcett's circus was one of the oldest and most respected family circuses in Great Britain. Circus artist posing next to a domesticated bear. We can see that he is standing on his hind legs and wearing a decorative collar and hat, typical of circus performances. Bears were generally trained to perform tricks and present to the audience. A lion tamer working with a group of large felines during a performance at the Bertram Mills touring circus. The lions, positioned on pedestals, display their fierce expressions while the tamer commands them with gestures and a rod, creating a spectacle of control and tension. A circus contortionist performing an impressive balance maneuver, sustaining himself only with his teeth. He demonstrates an incredible combination of extreme flexibility and strength, fundamental characteristics of contortion performances that were popular in circuses of the time. The ability to balance the body in challenging and seemingly impossible positions fascinated the audience, who watched these performances in awe. A strong woman performs an impressive feat of strength and balance by supporting a piano and a pianist on her chest. In circuses of the time, it wasn't only men who drew attention for their unusual strength. Women also demonstrated impressive feats, always captivating the audience. A polar bear performs an unusual trick, seemingly riding a motorcycle in a circus show, while an artist watches and accompanies the performance. This act illustrates the extreme training circus animals underwent to perform actions completely outside their natural behavior. In this photo, we see an impressive demonstration of strength and endurance, where a man supports a large stone block on his stomach, while another man is about to crush it with a sledgehammer. This type of feat was common in circuses and strength shows, where artists demonstrated their incredible physical endurance by withstanding extreme impacts without apparent injury. Photo of legendary circus artist Karl Wallenda crossing the Tallulah Gorge on a tightrope in 1970. Known for his bold, high-altitude balancing performances, Karl Wallenda was part of the famous acrobat family, the Flying Wallendas. This crossing, without modern safety equipment, was one of his most iconic demonstrations, performed over 984 feet above the canyon. Wallenda was renowned for his incredible ability to maintain balance under extreme conditions, enchanting and frightening the audience at the same time. Patricia Bourne trains lions to stand on their hind legs during the annual Bertram Mills Circus, held in Olympia, London. Training large felines like lions to perform such specific tricks was a fascinating and dangerous part of circus performances of the time. A circus artist sits inside a large cannon prepared to be launched. This type of performance was one of the most dangerous and popular attractions in circuses, known as the human cannonball. The artist was propelled by a spring or compressed air mechanism and flew through the air, landing in a safety net. A circus trainer interacts dangerously with a huge polar bear during a performance. The bear, standing on its hind legs, is in close proximity to the trainer, highlighting the risks involved in such acts. The strength and size of a polar bear make it one of the most dangerous creatures, and being so close without immediate protection underscores the peril. A circus trainer works with a leopard, performing tricks to entertain the audience. The leopard, sitting on a small bench, obeys the trainer's commands, who holds a rod as a direction tool. A circus artist performs an act with a bear. Both are balancing on large circus balls, requiring incredible coordination and training. The bear, trained for this number, stands on the ball while the artist maintains contact and guides it. A circus artist performs a dangerous fire-eating act, a common practice in circus shows that requires great skill. The trick involves manipulating flames with precision and controlling them so they appear to be consumed by the artist. A circus elephant performing an impressive trick, balancing on its front legs while supporting its weight on bottles. The photo showcases the skill and training required for such a large animal to execute this feat with precision. Trained elephants were among the most popular circus attractions of the time, and acts like this delighted audiences, who were amazed by the animal's agility and control. Dixie, an elephant from Whipsnade Zoo, displays an impressive part of her repertoire, along with her handler, George Bram. The image captures the moment Dixie holds Bram by the mouth, demonstrating the high level of training and trust between the handler and the animal. Although at first glance this appears to be a photo of a clown with a lion, the animal is actually another artist wearing a costume. One of the greatest landmarks of all circuses around the world, clowns with painted faces and funny costumes were responsible for mixing moments of high tension with dangerous performances and moments of comic relief with lots of laughter. A circus act involving a tiger atop an elephant with the trainer standing on the larger animal. The risk of an accident involving two large wild animals is high, as any unexpected movement could lead to an uncontrollable situation. Riders perform an acrobatic number atop horses in full motion at the Tower Circus. In this performance, the riders need to synchronize their movements and maintain stability on the galloping horses, an extremely risky task requiring great skill. Jojo, known as the dog-faced boy. Jojo, whose real name was Fedor Jeftichu, suffered from a rare condition called hypertrichosis, which caused excessive hair growth all over his body, including his face. He was one of the standout attractions in circuses and variety shows of the time, where he was presented as a human curiosity. Austrian acrobats in action during the show performing an impressive balance maneuver. One of the acrobats is mounted on a bicycle while supporting her partner, who is upside down and balanced only by one hand. Acrobatic rider Dorothy Herbert performs an impressive maneuver, hanging upside down while her horse rears up on its hind legs. Known for her horse acrobatics, Dorothy was one of the main stars of circus shows and rodeos. Her performance required an extraordinary combination of balance, control, and confidence both in the horse and in her own dexterity. Bengal tigers, trained by Charlie Bauman, perform at the Bertram Mills Circus in 1959. Bauman, a renowned big cat trainer, executed breathtaking acts where tigers jumped through hoops and performed tricks that defied their natural instincts. Dee Kosmeyer performs an impressive equestrian act at the Bertram Mills Circus in London. The number involves riding two horses simultaneously while executing coordinated tricks and maneuvers with mastery. Equestrian performances have always been a central part of the circus, showcasing the harmony between rider and animal. A troupe of artists performing an impressive aerial ballet. This type of performance required years of training to master the precision and strength necessary to perform the acrobatics safely, capturing the audience's attention with their beauty and boldness. The famous acrobat Gladys Roy, known as the Daredevil, trains her bold aerial acrobatics on top of a skyscraper in Los Angeles. Balancing dangerously on the edge of the building, we can see the extreme risk involved in her acts, which frequently defied gravity and human limits. A 1921 photo in Berlin shows a woman brushing the teeth of a circus hippopotamus during a break between performances. The hippopotamus, another animal that served as an exotic attraction in circuses of the time, keeps its mouth open and cooperates with its handler. A circus artist performing a feat of strength by carrying a young elephant that must weigh over 220 pounds on his shoulders. An artist performing an acrobatic act on a structure called the Crazy Rat Wheel. He pedals his bicycle inside a spinning wheel suspended in the air, creating an exciting spectacle. The wheel is powered by the cyclist's own momentum, while assistants below monitor the performance and ensure safety. We can say this is the early version of what would later become the famous Globe of Death, currently performed with multiple motorcycles riding in circles in a steel globe at the same time. Two acrobats performing a manual balance act. One of the artists supports the other with one hand, while the partner remains perfectly aligned upside down, demonstrating the incredible strength, control, and precision of the acrobats, who trained for years to reach this level of skill. Two young acrobats, part of the Les Andreu group, performing an impressive balance maneuver. The child on top is balanced upside down on the head of the other without using hands or any additional support. Children who grew up in circuses often began training and performing from an early age, developing acrobatic skills alongside their parents and family members. In this 1950 photo, we see a woman being lifted by an elephant in an unusual way. The animal, named Burma, is holding the head of its partner in spectacles within its own mouth. These risky tricks, often performed without adequate safety measures, exposed both the artists and the animals to great risks. The fact that an elephant lifts a person demonstrates the strength of these animals, but also highlights the danger involved. A crowd gathered on the sidewalks of New York City to watch the circus parade down the street. Elephants, with their handlers mounted, march in a line, a common sight during the great circus parades of the time. These parades were used to announce the circus's arrival in the city, attracting the general public to the shows. The parade included artists, animals, and colorful wagons, creating an atmosphere of great anticipation. Master of Ceremonies. Billy Rayner trains fleas in 1954. The act of training fleas was a curious attraction in circuses of the time, known as the flea circus. These performances involved tiny insects that appeared to perform tricks like pulling miniature carts or jumping over obstacles, but it was often an illusion, with objects moved by invisible threads. Gargantua the Great, a famous giant gorilla presented by the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Gargantua became known both for his impressive size and his tragic story. His face was scarred after a sailor threw acid on him while aboard a ship coming from Africa. The incident left Gargantua with an intimidating expression, which was exploited by circuses as part of his attraction, making him one of the show's biggest stars. Clementine Clatteau Delay, a famous bearded lady who became a celebrity in her time. Delay suffered from hirsutism, a condition that causes excessive hair growth in women, which led her to grow her beard and stand out as a popular curiosity. Unlike many women with the same condition, Delay embraced her unusual appearance and used it to gain notoriety, becoming an attraction in fairs and shows throughout Europe. She also owned a cafe in France where she often posed for photos and interacted with onlookers, confidently and dignifiedly taking advantage of her fame. Circus artist lifts 3 acrobats, one in each arm and another balanced on his shoulders. This type of performance was common in old circuses, highlighting the extraordinary strength of some artists, which always enchanted the audience. 3 brave women participate in a show working alongside trainer Walter McLean and his elephants. They are mounted on the elephants while the animals perform tricks, balancing on their hind legs. This number showcased the harmony between the handlers and the animals. Photo of Alexander Marshall, known as the Strong Man, performing an impressive act, lifting 2 women suspended on a steel bar that he holds with his teeth. This type of strength demonstration was one of the highlights in circus performances of the time, where men showcased extraordinary physical abilities to entertain and impress the audience. Photo during a Ringling Brothers circus stop in 1940. In it, we see trainer Walter McLean training with his elephants. We can see the animals performing tricks and balancing on pedestals. Elephants were one of the biggest attractions of old circuses. This type of show began to lose popularity in the second half of the 20th century due to concerns about animal welfare. A seal performs at a circus, using a harness while its trainer remains nearby. The animal is in the middle of an acrobatic act, jumping through a hoop, a typical trick in circuses involving marine animals. Seals were trained to perform a variety of tricks, such as balancing balls, jumping, and interacting with objects. Mr. Valentius holds 2 of his performing animals, a dog and a fox. Jacko and Bess, 2 mandrills performing at the Olympia Circus in London. Jacko is wearing a suit and Bess a dress imitating a human couple. A female contortionist displays her incredible flexibility. The artist is in a position that demonstrates her ability to bend her body impressively, a skill that was part of circus performances of the time. Contortionists were a popular attraction, fascinating audiences with their physical prowess and extreme control over their bodies. Famous lion tamer Clyde Beatty in action, training a group of lions in 1932. Beatty was known for his ability to control large wild felines in circus acts, often facing multiple lions and tigers simultaneously within an arena. His training style involved the use of a whip and a chair, classic symbols of the profession. The famous German strongman Eugene Sandow, on the left, and another man dressed as Goliath, apparently staging a fight with what appears to be a bear. Eugene Sandow was widely known as the father of modern bodybuilding, and his strength and physique impressed audiences around the world. He became an icon in strength shows and physical displays, often participating in acts with other characters and dramatic settings. A trainer works with a camel during a circus performance in Slovenia, using a whip as a direction tool while the camel performs its movements. Exotic animals like camels were often used in circus performances, showcasing their skills and training in choreographed numbers. Young lion tamer named Adiji posing alongside her large felines during a circus performance. Photo of contortionist Psalm, the elastic wonder of the world, atop a flower vase showcasing stunning flexibility. His incredible twists amazed audiences, redefining the limits of the human body. A group of acrobats performing an impressive aerial formation, where they are suspended from each other by suspenders. Each acrobat holds their partner above them, creating a chain of balance and strength that defies gravity. This type of performance showed the trust and cooperation between the artists, as well as the incredible physical ability required to support the group's weight. The famous acrobat family, the Flying Walendas, perfecting their tightrope walking routine. Known for their challenging acrobatics, they performed their numbers at great heights without the use of safety nets, which made their performances even more impressive and dangerous. Members of the Otaries aerial troupe performing an impressive headstand balance act on a tightrope in Sarasota, Florida in 1930. They are suspended in the air, using long poles to help balance, while a crowd of spectators watches from a nearby roof. The Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus in the background was known for its grand performances and acts like this. A clown from Hannaford's Canadian Circus, with his big pants, a common costume in circus performances of the time. Clowns often used exaggerated and colorful outfits to cause laughter and attract the audience's attention. 4 artists from the Hannaford's Canadian Circus posing for the camera, wearing elaborate costumes and smiling, reflecting the circus's joyful spirit. The Hannaford Circus was known for its colorful and international productions, bringing artists from different parts of the world to entertain the audience with a wide variety of acts, including acrobatics, animals, and theatrical performances. Gus Waldorf steps into the ring to face a trained bear in a promotional wrestling match in March 1949. These events were staged as bizarre attractions, disregarding risks for both humans and animals. 2 giants from Kashmir are posing with American photographer James Rickalton, who was about 5 feet 5 inches tall. Traveling through Asia, he captured impressive figures for exhibition in the United States in 1903. An elephant trainer in 1938 demonstrates a risky trick by allowing the animal to place its foot on his head. Such performances were common in circuses and shows during the 20th century. Joseph Merrick, known as the Elephant Man, suffered from a rare condition that caused severe deformities. He worked in freak shows before being taken in by a doctor and spending his final years at the London Hospital. A fairground attraction in Boston, Lincolnshire in 1957, where a woman simulates being electrocuted in a staged electric shock show. Such performances were popular for demonstrating resistance to electricity. 2 men pose theatrically with exaggerated expressions and contorted bodies, creating a surreal image. Photos like these were common in variety shows in the late 19th century, blending humor and oddity. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade of 1939 featured giant balloons floating above the streets of New York. Among them was the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz, symbolizing the impact of cinema at the time. Maurice Tillet, a French wrestler known for his unusual appearance due to acromegaly, poses with American supermodel Dorian Lee in 1945. Maurice is believed to have inspired the creation of the character Shrek. Cialo the Sealman, a famous circus performer with Folkamelia, enjoys breakfast in 1960. He worked in sideshows and films, impressing audiences with his ability to use his feet for everyday tasks. American burlesque dancer Zorita walks with her pet snake in Miami in the 1940s. Known for her daring performances, she incorporated snakes into her shows, marking the entertainment of the era. A trio of performers poses for an unusual photograph in Dresden, wearing theatrical costumes and creating an intriguing illusion. The positioning and outfits make it appear as if there is a fusion between the characters, typical of Victorian-era humor. A woman elegantly dressed poses between 2 grotesque-looking clowns who display exaggerated expressions and strange head ornaments. The photo, probably from the late 19th century, reflects the theatrical and eccentric tastes of the era. a French contortionist in 1865, displaying his incredible flexibility. Performers like him were already popular attractions in theaters and fairs, impressing audiences with their physical abilities. Millie and Christine McCoy, conjoined twins born in the southern United States, were exploited in exhibitions. Known as the Two-Headed Nightingale, they traveled across the United States and Europe, performing duets. Josephine Joseph, a circus performer, exhibited one side of the body as male and the other as female, earning a role in the film Freaks. Josephine claimed to be intersex, though there is little medical evidence to confirm this. During a Coney Island sideshow, an albino man poses next to the fat lady. In the background, posters promote the flea circus, a popular attraction of the time featuring trained insects performing tricks. Jack Earl, an actor and circus performer, poses alongside members of the doll family, who were dwarf entertainers. At 7 feet 8 inches tall, Earl toured with the Ringling Brothers and worked in silent films. Horace Riddler, known as the Zebra Man, in 1946. A former British officer, he covered his body with exotic tattoos to perform in freak shows, becoming a notable figure in the entertainment world. A Burmese family, 2 of whom had faces covered in hair due to hypertrichosis, was exhibited as an attraction in P.T. Barnum's Circus in 1890. People with this condition were frequently exploited in curiosity shows. Ruth Berry, born around 1910, performed as Mignon the Penguin Girl due to phocomelia, which fused her fingers, giving them a flipper-like appearance. She was a circus attraction for over 30 years. Todd Browning poses with part of the cast of Freaks in 1932, a controversial film that portrayed circus performers with rare conditions. The production caused an uproar and was banned in some countries, but became a cult classic decades later. Sylvia Portis, known as Sylvia the Elephant Girl, was a circus attraction in the 1940s. Her rare condition drew attention, but she won over audiences with her charisma and talent, becoming one of the most memorable performers of her time. A ventriloquist poses with his disturbingly lifelike puppet in a 19th century photography studio. Handmade, these puppets often had exaggerated expressions, creating a rather unsettling effect. Hunter, known as the Pony Boy, was born in 1895 in Missouri, USA, with a unique physical condition called congenital genu recurvatum, also known as backward leg deformity. He couldn't stand up or support himself on crutches, moving on all fours. His fame began after the Civil War, when he showcased his physical uniqueness in a small amusement park in Texas. This catapulted him to fame, eventually traveling throughout North America with the renowned Tom Mix Circus. Hunter spent an impressive 36 years showcasing his extraordinary abilities. After retiring, he continued his active life, restoring cars and raising rabbits. Hunter is remembered as a fascinating figure in curiosity shows, a person who lived life to the fullest and turned his differences into a remarkable career.